We're going to do a simplified drawing template with manual entry. So if you're on the standard sheet, we'll come down to custom size. My practice one I left in millimeters. It got a little bit small. So 8.5 inches. So 11 by 8.5 for the height. And we're not putting any geometry in, so we'll zoom to fit. And I want to edit this sheet format. And we have a tool that was added 3 or 4 versions ago at least, is the automatic border. So there's nothing in here to delete as existing. On the practice run as well, I found that keeping these even was a pretty good way to go. So 4 by 6 just to show the difference. So the regions across the top, A, B, C, D. What happened is when I put in an odd number, is that label became right there and was not parted like a divider or whatever. So it was a little bit strange, just to show standard for ours is 1/2 inch, but if I want to adjust it, I can certainly adjust it a little bit. The zone markers, the lengths, those look okay. Maybe we'll go to 0.3. And the zone dividers, 0.3. Let's see, what is the inner length? Let's go to 0.1. Show columns, show rows, label offset from the border. I have not created a layer, so basically it's going to come in the line. Alright, so that gives me the first one. I would like to see what the line thickness is there. So I don't have the line format up. Let's see, is there one over here? Title block fields, automatic border? No. Alright, so let's get into the sketch. And we'll place that. So position-wise, X is at 0.4, which should stay coincident. I'm going to give this 1.25 inches for our distance, and no real geometry there. So if I jump out of there, the sheet format, we got the lighter gray, the darker gray, all of the fields. That doesn't look terrible. I would like to make that a little bit thicker, so no, I'm still not seeing it. So if I go up to search command and go to line format, then where did that show up? Okay, so I have a line format, and we'll go to the thickness, bump that up a little bit. Alright, so since it did it that way, I should be able to find it here. I was actually just looking for that basic icon, but that works. And we jump out of that. That's about the same thickness, actually a little bit thicker. So let's go back to the toolbars, edit the sheet format, go back into the spacing. All right, we'll drop that down to 10 thousandths. All right, and then we're going to put in some notes. So with the annotations, the choice is to, if I include my field in this, then everything's going to be editable. All right, so drawn by, and then drawn date. So we can put a field in for that. The project. And I would like it to recognize the drawing name at least. We haven't applied anything to the parts as far as data at this point. The next group of Solidworks templates, a little more complicated, will run through that process. so let's stay with the note and annotation. We could spread these out a little bit different, drop this down. Again, a little bit of adjustment as we go. We'll go with the drawing name. All right, so those give me my fields. And the next annotation then will go to there, and it is going to be blank, so I should be able to pull that out. And we get 1, 2, 3. And when I put this one in, I'm going to actually edit it, and I'll need to move that over a little bit. But if we go to the current document, and that was link property, once we are in the note, the property manager shifts. We go to link property. Model is the part. Current document is the drawing. And so I want the file name. So draw 29. And so at least that much, when we name the drawing, it will pick up that value. And let's put a couple more. We'll just do a rev a so that we can look at those values and where they come from. And so that'll be, well, actually need to link. We have not created the property yet, so I don't think it's in here. No. All right, so we'll cancel out of that, X out of that. I know it's still there. We'll give it a little more room. And if I can't find it, hopefully I can window pick for it. Or not. All right, so I want to go into the file properties, and we're going to create a revision. And typically the revision is going to start with A. Oh, let's go into the edit sheet format. That would probably help. Still not seeing it, so I'm going to assume, unless it shows up again as a ghost, I'm going to assume that it did not place it. So we're in the current document. Now that I've added a revision, we can go ahead and place it. I want to make sure that that's selected, so Control A, we'll bump that up to like a 20. Can make it bold and accept. All right, so something pretty straightforward, basic that we can do quickly. Let's see, we're not going to modify that one, so just kind of seeing how that looks. And I want, still need to be in the edit sheet format. So I'm jumping in and out of the edit sheet format just to kind of get that preview. Once we're on the sheet, we're not able to edit any of these. So I need to just do that quick verification. All right, so we're going to add title block fields. And I'm going to change the selection area. Actually, we can just reduce the selection area down to there. And the first one is not tied to, but we want a tooltip, so drawn by. And then the next selection is the drawn date. And then the next selection will be the project. Because the project name and the drawing name can be different, then we'll have those act separately. Okay, so to get back into there, title block fields shows us, lets us select, and the check is that I can double click on one of these, go into that field, and start typing. All right, so very straightforward, very simple text. Now we get to the sheet formats. All right, so File, Save Sheet Format. I'm going to call this my simple A landscape. and save it. And then this is going to get tied to a document template that when we do the file save as, it's going to go to drawing templates, and this is simple A land, and there are my previous attempts. Simple A landscape, I think I put a dash in there anyway, and we'll save it. Alright, so in addition to the ones that I made really complex, I now close this because it's still a DRW DOT up there, and I closed it too quick. But I don't want to risk picking any of those items up. So the template and the landscape, we can pick the model view. I've created an exercise. Notice that it reverts back to, if you save, there's a good possibility it will save there as well. So we're buried down in the program data Solidworks template, and that's fine for the defaults. We'll have a separate item for a separate video for placing these in the cloud files. So put the views in there, except the origins are turned on, so I don't really want those. And when I go to apply a dimension, I should see the default dimension. Well, I'd like to have a slightly different color, but let's go ahead and double check the title block so I can give it a project example. And initials or your name. And did not make that a date, so pretty much can put in any format that I want. And that at least does the title block. We accept it. And then any of the sheets, if I go to add a sheet, it goes back to the blank. So that was not the desired result. So I want to go ahead and delete that sheet. We'll delete the views since I'm not really worried about that. Was just to check. Alright, so right click and toolbars, and we'll turn the layers on. I had the line format on for that guy. I'll turn it off, make sure that the layers are shown, and then the layers are going to be down here. So at the very least I want a dimension layer, so dims, and pick a color that looks good, or at least a shade of gray that looks good. And we'll go with the new, and I like to at least have the center marks, and we'll pick something a little brighter for the center marks. Okay. Alright, so same process, save sheet format. When you watch the rest, simple A landscape, when you watch the long version, we do that a lot. And then save as, and it's really just a safety, make sure everything gets updated and is correct. Alright, so the one thing I didn't do was put that back to none, and we'll check and see if that saves with a document template, because I'm suspecting, okay, since it's already named, I'm suspecting that that will travel with the template. Alright, so new, simple, and none. So when it comes in, it won't be locked into. We'll have to select. We'll bring that in. The other check then is when I do an open. No. I want to do a new, and it defaulted back again. I'm going to go over here to the tutorial and grab the draw. Pick up the standard sheet size and check the simple. So on the sheet format, it did keep the center. So for adding additional sheets, we need to go up here, because I may want, and let's see, well, let me close, no, I would rather go ahead and close the model view. And the one of interest is on the drawing sheets. We want to use a different sheet format, and we'll come down and pick the simple. So when I add that, if I add a second sheet, when I come down here to add, I will get this same sheet. So once again, make sure that everything gets saved to both locations. Save the sheet format, and then File, Save As for the document. And then we'll do one more test, and that'll probably be good for this level of template. Alright, so really basic. We can add more if you want to put more fields in. Go through the rest and build on this, then certainly can work those through. Alright, so I'm pretty confident that the none state, I can add the next sheet. Oh, I can't add the next sheet until I'm out of the model view. I'm still in none for the selection. And this kind of is as a jumping off point, where when we add the views, we start creating our projects, we have to make the choice. Is it going to be one part per drawing file, or are we going to make drawing packages? I've always leaned towards the drawing packages, because the printing out the documents, instead of opening up 10 separate files, if I have everything in their individual in the drawing package, I open up one file and print 10 sheets. So it's there's trade-offs and there's advantages to both. All right, so that'll be good enough for this one, and we'll come back and start putting some models in, doing some dimensioning, detailing.